Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2025 Volvo V60 cross-country B5 all-wheel drive Ultra. This vehicle is sitting on 245/40 Pirelli tires wrapped around 20-inch alloy wheels with a matte gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is called Bright Dusk. And I don't really get the name, but it kind of looks like that champagne type color. I think it's a good looking vehicle overall. And they're adding the black cladding to make it look in the cross country, to make it look a little bit more on the off-road, you know, end of the spectrum of wagons anyway. So looking at the front, it does have the parking sensors, and they're integrated nicely in the black portion here, and then in here. And then the Volvo emblem has a camera integrated perfectly right in the middle and looking good. Now I have a full night video on this vehicle if you want to check it out. It has a multi-reflector, active bending, like a movement of the headlights, auto leveling headlight system, and a projector LED fog light. And it has its pluses and minuses, and I go over that in the night video if you want to check it out. It's just pretty involved, so that's why I do it at night. So you can see the black cladding is there on the front, and it comes around to each wheel well and the base of the doors all the way to the back of the vehicle. There's like a plastic strip that looks like a metallic surface there, but looks like aluminum, but it's actually like a plastic type material. Now the handles are body colored, the upper portion of the side mirror is body colored as well, and these pillars here are a gloss black, so it kind of solidifies all the glass here, especially if you were to tint the front glass. And there's also a black frame, so really does a good job of solidifying that and kind of emphasizing length, and just a really good looking vehicle, I think, especially for a wagon. Now it has this metallic roof rail up here as well. It's kind of hard to see from a distance, so you can see that looking nice. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key system. All the buttons are here on the edge, so as you lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power lift gate. There's a panic button on this side. But yeah, orange color makes it easier to find your keys when you're looking for them. Let's go ahead and press that panic button, see what happens. Yep. Go ahead and hit the unlock button, turn it off. But yeah, it's got a nice strong horn. It flashes the lights. So it's a full proximity system, and as long as you have the key in your pocket, in a bag, whatever, as long as it's on the outside of any one of these doors, it has the little lock sensor right here, this little dimple. You just put your hand or finger over top of it, it'll go ahead and lock the doors. And I have it set to where it folds the side mirrors when you lock the doors. To unlock it, there's a sensor on the inside of the handle right here. Just put your hand on the inside of the handle, and it automatically unlocks the door as well. Now there's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only, and the physical key is on the inside of the fob. And I have a whole video showing you how to disassemble this fob, change the battery, and show you the key and all that stuff as well. The doors don't go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle, but it does a pretty good job of covering up most of this threshold area. It actually has a seal right here to keep this above area cleaner than it would otherwise be. So the inside of the passenger door, it's mostly soft touch surfaces. Here, even here at the bottom, it has a soft surface over top of the plastic, I guess. But it has a soft surface here. Really like the speaker grills, aluminum, Bauer, Wilkins, really good sound system. It has two presets here on this passenger side. I like that handle as well. It's like a metallic looking handle. And then these armrests are fairly soft. This is all like a vinyl type material. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket, and it has a little rubber mat in there to keep things from sliding around. And then you have the larger pocket there at the bottom for bottles or whatever. So there's the threshold area. It has a little Volvo sill plate as well. And the seats are really comfortable. So it has the leather seating surfaces, heated and ventilated, looking good. And these are a power seat, so they can go up and down. Here on the passenger side, up, down, tilt the back. And then you have these adjustments here for this little knob right here will change what you're adjusting. So you have the bolsters that can be adjusted, the lumbar adjustments, and this thigh extension as well. So as you press that button, it's going to show up on the screen what you're adjusting, and then you can adjust the seat to your preference. So here's the floorboard. Floor mat snaps in place. It's like a Berber type carpet type thing. A little bit of tapering going on here, but overall pretty good amount of leg room here in the front. Huge center console. It's like a wall between the driver and passenger basically. And this is a hard touch surface here, non-locking glove compartment. It does a felt lined and pretty good size in there. And we have the soft touch surfaces starting here, and then has this metallic strip, wood grain, which you can feel the wood grain. You can feel it, feels really good. Then there's a kind of rubbery, soft, non-reflective dash, and has some simulated stitching there going on as well. Huge sunroof. We'll look at that in a little bit. Inside of the back door, once again, has the soft surfaces here on the door, and basically same pocket here and here. Very similar styling as the front. A little bit smaller, of course, and the opening is quite a bit smaller as well. But it does have basically a bench seat. Car seat attachments have these little covers that just hinge up. It has a pass-through here, and it has a really soft armrest and cup holders that extend out when you want to use them. You can press them in. That center seating position is compromised quite a bit by that center hump in the middle. And there is a USB charge port here. Right there's two USB-Cs. Then you have separate climate controls back here. Net pockets on the back of both front seats. And the seats are kind of, the way they're positioned, if you're really tall, then your knees are going to stick up in the air a little bit. The seats are kind of low, but not too bad. The fuel door is here on the passenger side, and it's a capless design, and it says premium fuel. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. It has a shark fin antenna that's body colored right here in the center. The brake light, the third brake light, is here at the top of the glass. There is a rear wiper, and full LED taillights, looking really nice at nighttime. You got to check them out. There's also a LED rear fog light as well. And then there's integrated parking sensors here and here, and then you have a little metallic strip there within the black cladding, similar to the sides. Now the backup camera is offset. It's way over here. It's not in the middle. It's kind of like tacked on next to the tag, not integrated like the front. So I wish that was upgraded later on maybe. Okay, so you just press this button to open it up. You can also use the key, or you can kick your foot underneath it, which I don't really care for. There is a place for, there's a little light here, which I showed in the night video how useful that is. You can kind of guess. But there is a place for triangles to go in here as well. Reflective triangles, if you're not familiar. So there's a shade. It's kind of interesting shade. It covers up the cargo area so nobody's looking in there or whatever. But you have this, it kind of gets in the way like this. But it has this little track here in which you tilt it up a little bit, and it slides up out of the way. Now, of course, you can completely take it out if you want to, but this is a way to just access the stuff real fast and then quickly put it back down if you want to. But if you leave it in that position, it does still does a good job of keeping things covered up pretty good, but it does limit your visibility a little bit. Now you can unhook it like so and retract it to get it out of the way more, and then of course you can completely take it out if you need to. Now I like the way it has these bag holders here on the sides, here and here. There's also tie downs on all four corners. There. And you can see the pass through on this side. 12-volt power supply. There's two lights, one on each side here and here, in addition to the one underneath the liftgate. Now there's this net pocket here in which you can push down. Say if you don't want to use it, you can push it down like so and use that space more open. But this comes in handy. Put stuff here on the side, like small items or whatever, so they don't slide around. Now I like the way this is smooth. So smooth right on in, so there's no snagging. You can take a box and just set it there and just slide it right in. This is nice and smooth and everything. But the carpet is textured enough to where when whatever you put back here, it's not going to slide around as easy. There's a lot of other vehicles that this is like super slippery. So yeah, so it's smooth to slide in physically, but when you're driving, things don't slide around as much because of the texture of the carpet. It has a thick enough pile in the carpet here. Now this lifts up, and this is where you'll find the actual battery is underneath the spare tire, but there's a spare tire, and then there is the tools for the spare tire as well. But yeah, it's a pretty substantial cargo area, but you can fold the seats down, take the shade out, and have a much wider open space back here when needed. It's also 60-40 split, so you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space, which could be handy. Now there's two buttons here. One to simply lower the power lift gate. The other one is to lower, then lock the vehicle, which is really handy. So let's say you're got all your groceries in there and you press the button and it closes it for you, locks the vehicle, and you can walk away and you just completely don't have to worry about it. I really like that feature. To start it up, as long as the key's inside the vehicle, you just press and hold the brake and turn this little knob to start it up. And since it's a mild hybrid, it's going to start the engine, you know. But when you come to a complete stop, and I'll mention this probably several times, that when you come to a complete stop, it will turn the engine off, and there's no way to turn that feature off. And it turns off the air conditioner when it does that, or the air conditioner is no longer cold when you're sitting still because the engine's off, and that's what powers the air conditioner. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and the floor mat snaps in place just like the other side. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, a nice big footrest as well, and fairly good amount of legroom here. But once again, we have that huge great wall there in the center of the vehicle. So let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center, right in here, right above that arrow, I guess, right in here, and you move it to the right and lift up on the hood, and it goes up quite a ways, but it holds itself up with the struts. There's no insulation under the hood, surprisingly. It does have two places where the hood attaches, so here and here, so it's not a single one in the center. You notice it has a pretty strong brace here on the front. Very secure, solid front end. The suspension towers are also braced together there in the back, connected together. So yeah, very strong front end. It feels really solid going down the road and everything. Pretty impressive ride as well. So yeah, this is a soft cover right here, covering up everything, but it is, it's pretty filled in. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. You know, it is a mild hybrid system, and it has a turbocharger and some other things to it that kind of fill everything in. But yeah, it's a smooth running engine. It's quiet, and all-wheel drive system is good. I mean, I'm on dry pavement right now, so it's not really hadn't really tested the all-wheel drive system or anything, but it feels good. There's no torque steer or anything. Decent amount of power. The only thing is I don't really understand the 4-cylinder turbocharged mild hybrid system, all that complexity in order to get the horsepower and fuel economy that we're getting with this vehicle, with the weight and the coefficient of drag and all that stuff. It just seems like, you know, a V6 probably could be about the same without all the complexity, possibly. Actually, I mean, I know of other vehicles that are, you know, similar weight, similar, worse drag coefficient, and get better fuel economy. So not sure what the smaller engine with the turbocharger and all that stuff is, you know, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but yeah, it seems like a trend nowadays. So underneath this cover and all this stuff is a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine. It's a direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, it's considered a mild hybrid in which it has a 48-volt system in which uses that to restart the vehicle. When you come to a complete stop, it has the idle stop feature, and it uses that feature to start up rapidly. It does a really good job of that. Now, it puts out 247 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, and it's an all-wheel drive system. But position of the motor and transmission and everything is a front-wheel drive vehicle, but it adds the all-wheel drive system with the drive shaft going to the rear wheels. The blind spot detection system has a little indicator here on the side mirrors, a little light that turns on when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. And it has, basically this door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. 2 presets for the power seat like the other side, door lock controls there. Power windows, 1 touch up and down, front and back. So it's just solid glass, no lamination here. And then the back glass doesn't quite go all the way down, it's right there. And it's fairly slow. Side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side, left or right, and adjust it with this little pad. And then if you press them both at the same time, you can power fold the side mirrors as well. And you can make it to where they power fold in when you lock the doors. So the power seat's basically just like the other side. It has the little adjustments for the thigh extension. The bolsters can be adjusted, and also the lumbar adjustments. And just overall, there's a lot of adjustments on this seat, so it took me a little while to get in a position that's relatively comfortable. It is a fairly comfortable seat, but there's so many different adjustments that can get me out of whack, and it took me a while to get it adjusted. And the seat's quite low to the ground right now, so right to the floor, and so yeah, it's interesting. You have to play around with it, I guess. But yeah, these are heated and cooled seats, and pretty good. To the left of the steering column is just a single button here for opening up the power liftgate, and then you press it and hold it to open it up. And then there's a tilt and the telescoping steering column, and you lock it in place here. It's kind of in the middle, right in the very center. You can feel it and pull it down to release it. Before I put the shade up, just want to comment on the heads-up display. It's not really extensive. It just has the speedometer and road sign information, that kind of stuff. But you know, it shows you the status of the lane keep assist system and all that stuff. So it's useful, but it's not like an elaborate system. It just gives you real basic information. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's pretty ridiculous how far back I am. It's definitely too far back for me to drive. There's plenty of legroom other than this huge wall right here. Could potentially be an issue for some people, but overall I think it's fine. There's lots of room on this side. There's no obvious things jetting out that gets in the way when you position the seat. The steering wheel is fantastic. I really like the surface of it. It has like this, it's a leather wrap steering wheel, but it has like this, I don't know, it's like a kind of like a marine type surface to it, like a marine, reminds me of marine type, like waterproof type leather type or vinyl or whatever. But it feels really good, and it's simplistic, you know. It's not overly soft or anything, but thickness is good and everything. So yeah, it's not all fancy, and I think it kind of stands out a little bit in this type of vehicle that it's not all fancy, but I like it. I think it's fine. The stitching is a little bit rough, but I mean, it's not really a big deal. It's actually, it doesn't stick up much, but you can feel the stitching. But yeah, I really do like the steering wheel. The only thing about this one, and all Volvos are like this, the buttons aren't clearly marked. You kind of have to just know what they do. So here on the left side is the cruise control. You can turn it on, increase or decrease the speed, and then you have the resume button there. And then you press that to cancel. Now the lane keep assist system, you can have that on or off. You can make that selection. This is the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Here on the right side is the volume for the radio, change to the tracks. You also have the voice recognition. We also have this button right here, and then this button right here. And it corresponds with the screen here. We'll get to that in a second. Windshield wiper controls are here. Pretty straightforward for the front and rear. Turn signals here, but it also has the headlight switch. And there's a button here to reset the trip on the end, but you don't have to use that button, but it's a quick way of doing it. So you have the automatic high beams. You can toggle that on or off. You have an automatic function there. Headlights on, parking lights, and then you can actually turn off all the exterior lights. This is the fog light for the front right there. You just press in that, and then the rear fog light is here. So it's really good system. once you know it. It's not illuminated at night, so you have to kind of know what you're doing, or just leave it on automatic, and just know that you can toggle on or off the automatic high beams when you want to do that. Okay, so this screen is it's supposed to be just gauges. It's supposed to be a screen of gauges, right? But they're not really utilizing the screen to do much customization. It's basically static image here, and you get what you get, right? But it has the navigation map, so that really does help out. That's where the navigation map does help, you know, utilize the screen in a positive way. But the gauges, they don't really use it that much. So it has a digital speedometer here, and a kind of like analog type speedometer visually. And then here on this side is the RPMs, the tachometer, what gear you're in, the status of the battery. It's a 48 volt system, but then it steps it down to 12 volt system for almost everything. But that's the status of the battery. We don't really need to know that though, because it doesn't really have any bearing on your driving. What does is the fuel gauge, which is down here, and it gives you the estimated range as well. Okay, so that center part, so this button right here and this button. So I'm going to call that the pages button, and then this is just the center button. We'll just call it that. So I'm going to press the center button, and it's going to pop up the odometer, but also there's two trips. One that you can manually trip on the left, and then the one on the right resets basically every time you start the vehicle. All right, so we can reset that if we want, or we can close it. And then the pages button, when we press that button, all it does is give you two pages. One is the map and one is a blank page. So that's it, you know. So there's not like a lot of customization. There's no menus, there's no settings in here, anything like that. Just want to point out that the buttons here on the end of this windshield wiper is for the rear, these little buttons right here. Okay, so this screen, this is the Google based system that they've had for a couple years now, and I've made actually several videos on Volvo screens showing you how to use it and all the setup and all that stuff. But just kind of a quick rundown. You can pull from the top, you can get information there. You can also make selections. This is the home screen, so when you press this button right here, which is the only button, physical button, it takes you to this home screen, and you have the Google Maps system, which is pretty good. It does really good searches and all that stuff. You also have your audio. So in this case, I was playing music off my phone. And you go into settings here, it's a little shortcut, and you can set up different devices here, or you can turn it on or off as well. And then you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. So if you have an older Volvo, you would swipe left and right, to get to certain things. This one, you have this little button right here. So you press that button, and it pops up different things. So that is, so you can see the little, sort of like your cell phone. You have YouTube, you have the maps, messages, the status of the car, you have a driving journal, and you have air quality information, Bluetooth, satellite radio, your radio, AM, FM, Apple CarPlay as well. I would use Android Auto. Then you have the Play Store to add different apps. And then you have your settings on this side, and you can go through, and they're basically infinitely divisible. You go through and select the one you want, and then it has more and more selections there. And then the camera system, you just press that. This is great. You have a top-down system. You also have a rear view as well. But yeah, it stitches it really good around the vehicle and gives you a good view. You notice there's some blurriness. It's not as... The thing about this system is the blurriness right out here. It's actually a little bit larger of a view than most vehicles. So if other vehicles had this large of a screen, it might be blurry like that as well. So you got a good view around the vehicle, where you are in relationship to everything else. And so you can see I did an excellent parking job there, didn't I? I didn't intend to park there. But anyways, I just happened to be between the lines, so that's good. So yeah, let's go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see the backup camera. You can always press this button to go to the 360 view if you want. And you can also get different views here. Left, right. You can see in the front. And you can see in the back. So yeah, the camera system is pretty good, very handy. All right, let's go back out of that. So now we can pull up the seat controls here. You have this as the heated and cooled seats. It's a 3-stage for both. Same thing for the driver. The driver also has a 3-stage heated steering wheel as well. And when I press the button on the seat, I mentioned before that you can have different adjustments. There's a little toggle there, and you can choose what you want. So there's the bolsters. I can move those in or out. There is the lumbar adjustments, and there is the thigh extension. So those are 3 different options when you pull up and down on the toggle, and then you use the little pad to make the adjustments. Here's the climate control. You press that, and you can put on automatic fan, or automatic where you want the air to blow, and then you can adjust the fan here, front and rear defrosters, air condition, recirculate the air, and the temperatures can be synced together, front and back, so it's a tri-zone basically, and so you can have those all synced together if you'd like. You can also set it up for automatically heated seat, heated driver, passenger, heated steering wheel, auto rear defroster, and recirculation timer. So just below the screen is the volume for the radio, and you have a play and pause. Now when I play off my phone, play music and stuff, I can hit play on my phone sometimes and it'll start playing, but you won't hear anything. You have to like also press play here sometimes as well, and it's just like random whether it does that or not. And then you can change to the tracks here, and then the front and rear defrosters, separate redundant buttons here, and then the 4-way flashers are here as well. Now it has this wood grain, similar to you see in the dash there, like this. Looks really nice. And there's no obvious place there's no dedicated place to put your phone when you get in the vehicle. So none of these places are designed for a cell phone. They're just like random pockets here, and then you have cup holders here, and a 12-volt power supply. You could put your cell phone in the cup holders, that's fine. But if you're utilizing the cup holders, then there's not really a good option here for your cell phone. It's a little bit, they just didn't take that into consideration, that when you get in a vehicle, you have stuff in your hands and you need to put them down. And there's no obvious places or dedicated places for the obvious item, which is your cell phone. You know, everybody has that. And so a lot of vehicles have a dedicated place. This one doesn't have that. It does have a really cool Orfor's crystal, made in Sweden, crystal shifter here. This is nice, really nice looking, and it looks good at night because it's illuminated through the glass. And so yeah, it's very impressive. And the way you use it is it has reverse, neutral, and drive. So if we're going to put it in neutral, we push it forward, and 2 things will happen. The parking sensors will activate, also the rear view camera. And of course, once the camera's up, you can hit the 360 system if you want. And so if we pull it back gently, we can put it in neutral. And it'll show what gear we're in right here. Pull it back all the way will be drive. And then there's a dedicated button here for park. You just press that. So this is the button. This is actually the turn switch to turn the vehicle on, but also you do the same thing to turn it off. The electronic parking brake is here. You lift it up to engage it. It engages the rear wheels. And to release it, you press and hold the brake and push down on it. Now this is the auto hold function. It has a little light, status light there, and basically they'll hold the brakes for you when you come to a complete stop, and then you hit the accelerator to continue. Like if you're sitting at a stop sign or a stoplight or whatever, traffic, it just holds the brake for you, so you don't have to hold it. Here is the armrest, and it feels like not very soft. It's kind of like a tire. You know, it's kind of rubbery but not cushioned like the back. But yeah, this lifts up, and it's a felt-lined compartment. This goes all the way back. Felt-lined compartment. I have my business cards in there, but yeah, it's a felt-lined compartment, and not overly large, and it's useful though. There is 2 USB-C ports here. One is a charger only. The other one is to connect with the system. Now there's a little spot right here for wires to go in and out of this compartment. So right there is a little spot, just enough space for a wire to go in and out. Not so much here on the side though. The HomeLink garage door opener controls are right here underneath the rear view mirror. And it's actually an auto dim rear view mirror. You can see that it's auto dimming now because they have the shade over the light sensor, which is right here on the back. And the side mirrors are also auto dimming now as well, so you can see that both of them will auto dim. And then we have some little tap lights here, reading lights for the driver, the passenger, You can turn on all the interior lights by pressing that button. These are all soft touch buttons. This is for controlling the shade and the sunroof. We'll get to that in a second. The visor has a vinyl wrapping on it. The headliner is like a cloth, a black cloth material, but this is a vinyl covering. This is easier to clean and much more durable, especially if you're grabbing it all the time. You know, it's better than the cloth. Has a little clip there and also a mirror with a light. It does not extend out, and there's this huge gap right here. Basically the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you can see the little speakers here for the Bluetooth system for making calls. Okay, so we have this huge sunroof, but the shade doesn't cover 100% of the light. There is some light coming through, as you can tell. There's the sun. So on real hot days when the sun is high in the sky, it doesn't really help to have that. You know, it's better to have it completely covered, but that's the way it is. You can actually feel the heat at certain times. But if we just kind of swipe this like so, we can get that shade to move back. Goes all the way back there. The back portion, the back glass back here is fixed. And this front portion, look how big that is, goes way back there. So let's go ahead and press in on that little button there. It's not really a button, it's just a soft touch. And it pops up. Close it and then swipe back again to open it. Open it up all the way. Swipe it again, goes a little bit further back. And we can swipe it forward again to get the shade to move forward. So looking at the visibility here in the back, we do have a lot of glass, a lot of windows. So there's no like huge pillar that's getting in the way specifically. You know, it's very good visibility, I would say, back here. Now it depends on how many passengers you have and how big their hairdos are and how much cargo you have back there. But yeah, it's fine. And also it has the parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, really good camera system, backup camera, all that stuff to help you drive the vehicle safely. When you come to a complete stop, I'm gonna mention this again, the air conditioner doesn't cold. It's not cold at all. On a hot day, it's really annoying, especially if you're in a lot of traffic or long stoplights, that kind of thing. So basically what I do is I just kind of tap the accelerator and move like as little forward as I can. You know, let's say there's a car in front of me, I just move slightly forward by tapping the accelerator and it'll get the system, the engine running again. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of that, you know, the idle stop. And that's the whole reason why it has the 48-volt system with the special starting system, starter. It's actually like an alternator starter. It's not even like a gear system. It runs off of a belt and all these complexities. And in the end, they still have it to where the air conditioner doesn't even work. They should have like a heat pump or something, you know, like, you know, if you're gonna have that, have it to where it can still run off of electricity and not require the engine to turn for the, you know, for the climate control to work. But anyways, that's kind of that's like one of the big deal breakers for me, but it might not be an issue for you. So I've been getting about 24 miles per gallon on average, which doesn't seem all that great. Once again, the engine's off now. And so yeah, I'm not gonna tap the accelerator right now. I don't want to scare anybody. There we go. For an 8-speed transmission, I'd say it's okay. It's not really spectacular or anything. It tries to sip gas, so you're not getting the high. When you're just kind of driving around, you don't really feel. Well, first of all, when the RPMs are low, since it's a turbocharged engine, it's not going to have the greatest power. You get the RPMs high to get that strong power, the full power of the engine, basically. So with a transmission that's trying to sip gas, it keeps everything at low RPMs and soft. So when you need that acceleration, you have to change gears and all that stuff. So there's a little bit of a delay there, but yeah, it's not bad. The things that, it is a fairly quiet vehicle and fairly smooth as far as the ride quality. It's not annoying, you know, it's not like a super soft suspension, but it does feel good. And, you know, driving around, I enjoy driving it. It's no real problems with driving it. The lane keep assist system, the air conditioning system and the lane keep assist system are the two things that really have a problem. So when I turn on the cruise control and the lane keep assist system fights with me the whole time, also it tries to like shove me over on the oncoming lane sometimes. So I'm like driving and then I'm fighting with it, and then just when there's no car coming, I just let go of the steering wheel to see what it's trying to get me to, where it wants me to go, and it like shoves me all the way half into the oncoming lane. So yeah, it doesn't always do that, but especially if it's a curvy road. So right now is a straight road, so it'll probably work good. But a road that has a lot of curves, we'll just kind of let go of the steering wheel and see what it does. So yeah, on a straight road like this, it's usually pretty good. It still wants to wander a lot, and it doesn't have a grip sensor. So right now it's keep telling me to keep holding the steering wheel, but it doesn't have a grip sensor. So you have to have a slight turn of the steering wheel in order for it to know that you're holding the steering wheel. But it's very sensitive, so it normally does a pretty good job as long as you're holding the steering wheel. Some vehicles, you're constantly like, you can hold the steering wheel all you want and it still thinks you're not holding it, and you have to constantly jiggle the steering wheel to get it to work. But this one is pretty sensitive, so it can tell you're holding it most of the time. I wish it had a grip sensor though, that'd make it a little bit better. But yeah, a little bit of turns like this with the lane keep assist system, it just, I don't know, it just kind of fights with you and wants to wander all over the place, and it kind of feels like there's a drunk person sitting in the passenger seat with reaching over and holding the wheel for you, and they're just kind of like wandering around. So yeah, and I've had this problem with Volvos most of the time. So you can turn that feature off, lane keep assist system, if you want to. It's not a huge deal, but it's worth mentioning, you know. Okay, so that was to the floor, and so yeah, you can accelerate and you can get out, merge in traffic and all that stuff, not a problem. It's not really like fast or anything, and this, of course, since it has stepped acceleration, then you know, you're like, well, you got to feel all the shifts and everything, and you have to rev a lot because the turbocharger and a 4-cylinder and all that stuff, but you're able to drive it no problem. And usually, you know, if you drive it normally, you don't have all that drama going on. It doesn't really have a problem. It's just when you really floor it, then, you know, as you saw, it's a little dramatic. But yeah, it's a really good highway vehicle, I would say. There's just certain positions that I sit in that this vehicle doesn't accommodate. But I had to, like I said, I had to play around with the seat position and get it comfortable. But yeah, if you want a wagon. So the thing is about this vehicle is that there's so many other like crossovers and SUVs and stuff that are in this price range that are really good. So it's really hard to compete with a wagon in that price range. So unless you specifically like the style and you want the wagon experience, you know, you want the sitting on the floor experience instead of sitting more upright, you know. But yeah, it's an interesting vehicle. I love the way the exterior looks. I really do like the way it looks. And Volvo has always pretty much impressed me with a lot of its styling, you know. It looks good, it's classy looking, looks very presentable vehicle, you know. But a few design things could be improved, like almost every vehicle out there. There's some things that there's always room for improvement, basically. But overall, I like the vehicle. It's interesting because Volvo, it's like you're driving, every Volvo that I've driven is basically the same thing. It has the same screen, same, you know, pretty much everything the same. So this one is just the wagon version of all the other Volvos, you know. You know, you get into the XC90, you get into the, you know, anything basically. It's just like the same layout, you know. And so if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you pretty much have to exclude all Volvo, you know. That's the thing. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments about, you know, the Volvo and what's going on with the storage areas here, like no place to put your cell phone, and the you know, the simplicity of the buttons here on the steering wheel, the screen, which doesn't have that much customization, and the Google-based system, which I've heard a lot, you know, some people have some issues with. Let me know what you think about all these things. If you have experience with a Volvo, a modern one, especially since they changed to the Google-based system. Because before that, there was a different system, and you know, it's basically completely different almost. But how you use it's different. You know, everything basically different. But yeah, let me know if you have any experience with the Volvos, and if you like them, if you don't like them, whether you considered buying one or not. And I'll see you guys next time.